Okay, folks, this may be the most controversial video I ever do. Yes, we're talking sniping today. Love it, hate it. It's such a polarizing subject, but let's do it. I'm ready. What up, what up? This is Bardo coming at you, jacked up and ready to go for this next topic. But first, hey, a big thank you for the overwhelming support that I'm getting. I mean, just since my last video, y'all have logged like 2,000 views of my videos. I think 69 of you have said, hey, Bardo, I want more of this, and you've smashed that subscribe button. So look, y'all don't know how much this motivates me to keep me rocking and rolling with the channel. So if you would be so bold as to honor me with a subscription, then that would mean more than you would know. Before we get into this, let me tell you, this is not going to be a video full of tips, tools, and suggestions to improve your game. No, this is a video, I really see it more of a report back to you. I've posed some questions to FoE Nation through Reddit and Discord. It's really been super interesting to me, but this is a report to you about what I have heard from you. And yes, I'll sprinkle in a few of my own thoughts and perspectives along the way, but really this is a report to you. Now let me tell you how I came to this. Now, the last video that I did was about having a full active friends list and how to make that happen. In that video, I may have mentioned it was part 1 of 2. The idea was that part 1 was about the increasing importance of having active friends and some easy ways to find those players. My intention was for my next video, part 2, to be more focused on a clear, intentional, strategic structure that I use for my friends list strategy. I call it the 30-1-10 approach. Really, it's how I engage with my friends list, and more specifically, how I use my relatively high-level 166 arc to help these friends with their goals, while yes, providing a significant profit to me as I try to recoup the ridiculously insane amount of forge points I've invested in my arc. So I'm still planning to do this part 2, but as I was preparing to create this video, it occurred to me that many people would define what I do as sniping. Now look, I don't feel that it is, but is it? I mean, maybe it is, maybe it's not. So I wanted to hear from you ahead of time. I went to Reddit and Discord and I posed the following 2 questions. Number 1, what is your definition of sniping? Number 2, true or false? It's only sniping if the person receiving the forge points does not want you to do it. Now, I had a very significant response to this. Lots of thoughts on the subject, as you can imagine. I pulled together what I felt were some of the best comments and meaningful thoughts on this. And I think these are worth sharing with you. So let's start off. Let's go through some of the best definitions that I saw for sniping. I'll just kind of go through these. Okay. Taking a spot on a GB without agreement with the owner. Adding unsolicited forge points to a GB, regardless of how much. So if they're not asked for and someone puts it on a GB, doesn't matter how much it is, it's a snipe. Sniping is securing any reward spot for less forge points than the actual return you'll get. Okay. Sniping is when the GB owner leaves spots open to people on their friends list or neighbors and then gets mad that someone took it. that might be one of my favorites. That's a good one. I think many of us could probably relate to that. Sniping is when someone is using 1.9 leveling and you lock a position below that. How about this? Sniping is any uninvited investment on your GB. That's interesting. Sniping is someone playing the game for their benefit, not yours. Okay. I'm not necessarily saying I'm agreeing with these. I'm just kind of sharing with you. These are some of the definitions I got. Sniping is when you take positions below their 1.9, threads, the cost of their GBs. And then this one here, this is perhaps, I think this might be the best one And I kind of like this definition. And it says, contributing forge points to a GB with the intent to secure one of the top 5 positions without coordinating with the owner of the GB beforehand. Now, on the true-false question, I mean, I had lots of people responding to that, but most actually did not answer true or false. They just kind of stated some opinions and their kind of perspectives on that. So I can't really give clear data about those answers like I thought I might be able to. But here are some of those other like well thought out comments. And I think these are really, really good. Okay, here's some comments. People often mixed up friendly sniping and hostile sniping. Interesting. So kind of differentiating between, okay, there is such a thing as friendly sniping. How about this? I secure my GBs so I don't get sniped at all. So I can't answer this. I never blame the sniper, always the owner who failed to secure those positions. Now, what I really like about this person is kind of pointing out the fact that if your GB is open up and you have not secured the spots, it might kind of be your fault if you end up getting sniped. It's kind of sharing that perspective. This comment, I essentially view the 1.9 threads as regulated sniping agreements. How about this comment? Many players are self-levelers or they use swap threads. If you snipe them, you're not really sniping. They are actually grateful that you're taking spots on their GB. They are begging for free forge points from you. I really appreciate this comment. This kind of aligns with how I feel, but it's nice to know I'm not the only one. I hate it when people post their GBs on a 1.9 thread, but they have not secured the spots they want filled. Then they get all mad and they tell you they're not dropping forge points unless it's secured. My biggest pet peeve on Forge of Empires. So we're kind of seeing some themes there. And just look, by the way, I just got to tell you, I mean, this is, man, I got to admit, like, this is one of the things that really kind of bugs me. I mean, look, folks, don't post a GB on a 1.9 thread unless you've secured the spots. My thought is, if you're going to ask someone to contribute to your great building, the least you can do is secure that so that there's no possible way that they can get sniped. I mean, if you don't do that, you really shouldn't expect people are going to post on it because they could get burned on that. It's happened to me many times. Okay, some other great comments. If what you add to their GB benefits them, then they are not sniped. Okay? Okay. And then I really like these comments. It's obviously not sniping if the person receiving the gift of forge points appreciates getting the forge points. The whole concept of sniping is made up by people who wish the game rules were different. And then there's this comment, which I think is a really good one. And it says, the question should be whether or not sniping is ethical. It is a mechanic of the game that is available to all players to use or not as a strategy. So what are the themes here? You know, obviously much of this has to do with 1.9 threads. I mean, some players use them, some do not. It seems pretty apparent that mobile players are much less likely to use them because they don't have, you know, access to FoE helper while playing on their mobile device. But many players just don't want to deal with 1.9s. They don't want to deal with calculations. They don't want to, you know, be pulling out a calculator. And they're perfectly content to just use swaps and other like organic leveling strategies. So that's the thing. I mean, I think it's important to remember that there are large amounts of players out there that they're not using 1.9s and they don't want to, and therefore it really doesn't matter to them whether you're you know, to what level you are posting forge points on their buildings, because you're not sniping them. Much of this has to do with whether the action is welcomed or unwelcome, it seems. I mean, many of the folks said, okay, if the action was unwelcome, that is a snipe. If it is welcomed, then it is not a snipe. One responder said there is friendly and ethical sniping, and there is nefarious and unethical sniping. So, lots of different opinions. There's definitely some themes that we see from all of this. So what is the takeaway? I mean, it kind of feels like, just like with everything in life, it's for us to kind of digest and decide for ourselves. I think this is part of the reason why this is such a great game, because I see similarities and analogies and microcosms of life in this game. I mean, we're all not going to agree on the definition of sniping. That's pretty clear. We're all not going to agree on the ethics of these actions and actually, what is ethical and what is not. But maybe, just maybe, having some discussion about this helps us to hear from others and then better kind of formulate our own views about the game and how we want to play the game. I mean, when it's all said and done, look, this is a game. It's just a game. We're not addressing the many problems of the world with this game. So as we think about this, we got to keep things in perspective, right? We're all just people trying to have a good time, perhaps a little escape from this crazy world with this game. Maybe one of the cool and appealing aspects of the game is that it allows us to reflect and demonstrate our own values into the game. The engagement with others, the opportunities to help each other, to seek a mutual gain, perhaps. I love that part of it. Look, no, who's playing this game because they want to do terribly? We want to do well in the game, but if we're able to do well and at the same time be of benefit to others, that's, to me, when the game really becomes fun. The help that I received along the way, it has caused me to have this just intention to pay it forward as I go along. So, and then for some, it allows them the opposite. They may be tired of trying to be nice to people in everyday real life, and maybe being malicious to people in the game is just something they find entertaining and appealing. And when it's all said and done, it's okay, because this is just a game, right? It's not, it's not of supreme importance. But the entire reason why I put this channel together, it's because of the people, right? The awesome people I've come across in the game, the motivation that I have to pay it forward in just a small, minute way, if I can, to engage with other people and share our experiences in really kind of a safe and sterile kind of way. It really makes the game awesome. It's the best game like this that I have ever played. So there's just a few thoughts. On that note, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe if you found any value to this video. Oh, and comment. Please comment. I would imagine that you guys might have some things to say about this. So I would love to hear from you on this polarizing topic. Until next time, forge on, my friends. Forge on.